And this is take two. This is the Lily channel. We got our guest Lauren Swee here, who is a marketing maven. The Lily channel is LILI. It's Laugh, Inspire, Learn, Innovate.
Yeah.
So let's think of something for Lauren later.
My acronym would be so long.
It would be.
Because you're lucky you have 4 letters. Mine would be 6. That'd be a lot.
At least yours isn't a 4-letter word. But anyway. Well, it just so happens that we met during a networking meeting with, what's it called, 1 Million Cups?
1 Million Cups, yes.
1 million, not 8 million.
A weekly networking group, which I feel like has been key because that means we've really gotten to know each other.
Yeah. I kind of like believe it. I might try this myself.
Yeah, it's like a talk show.
Woohoo!
I mean, why not hold it? I mean, there's only so many opportunities in your life to feel like you're on a talk show.
I like it. I really like it.
So,
and I tend to choose people who have made an impact in society and have talked with others who have done equally so. Not just anybody. We're talking Lauren. What are you going to share with us today about marketing?
Yeah, well, so what's going on in my life right now is I'm on the hunt for a marketing job. The past 3 years, I've been freelance. It started off as videography work. I did video work for businesses, small businesses, and slowly over the past 3 years, it's transformed into more of a content marketer position, integrating, their videos with their larger like marketing objectives.
Oh, wow.
And starting to learn how to track, success and kind of, tie content into the greater picture. And the reason I'm looking for a job hunt right now, or I'm on the job hunt right now, is because I really, I've been working directly with business owners, people who haven't had marketing teams. And this wasn't something I went to school for. And so I see this as kind of an opportunity to really build out my skill set.
Sure.
See like the bigger picture of, what marketing is, what it does, how to do it. And just, learn and grow.
So many elements. I just want to make sure it is awesome recording. Yay, because
it's just really like me.
It's not really fun to do it's not going to be that long, but a video and discover at the end that we were just talking for the heck of it and no one gets to benefit.
Yeah.
What I do is connect others. I am a marketing specialist, but in a slightly different way. I do a lot of networking education in the sense that business owners will want to flock to Lauren, for example, because she's an excellent networker and has the exceptional skills. I teach skills like that. I find out who your ideal client is better than AI would because they won't visit your service. They won't touch your product. Sorry, AI. But also connecting people, like referral-based, and putting them on my channel for more exposure. Dang it.
Yes, thank you for this.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's just, it's very fun. It's super fun. And she does really killer 60-second videos. I've seen, I think, one on the food shelf.
Yeah, I did that food shelf video a couple of years ago. It was actually it was one of the first like really significant contracts that I landed. So I'm really proud of that project.
Way to go.
Yeah, thank you.
I wish more people knew about food shelves. I did a few videos on that, and I don't think enough people know about food shelves. Or if they do, they feel like they shouldn't do it. I'm thinking
like use the food shelf. Yeah, absolutely. That was a big goal with that video, was helping people like literally be able to visualize themselves in the food shelf. And like something that was totally eye-opening to me is, especially when you walk into like the Waconia food shelf, which is so well done, you really feel like you're walking into a grocery store.
Yeah.
And that's how they want you to feel, is because it's not made for, I think we kind of have this image of somebody who uses the food shelf, but it's really just a resource for people in the community, and you don't have to be, groveling on your hands and knees to use it. It's just meant to support you, and I think
you're looking at someone who has been using it. My husband and I were laid off roughly at the same time, totally unexpectedly, and it's helped us save some dough, protect our health, and get the word out about it.
That's great.
I was at Step St. Louis Park. They're awesome. So if you have a gigantic bill all of a sudden for a medical expense, or I wouldn't say consumer bills. I mean, if You overspent it. Sorry. But certain things you just don't expect, and if you didn't have the savings for it. Anyway, this is not about the food shelf. This is about you.
Yeah,
So let's get back to you.
sounds like we
Sorry.
could go on about the
Yeah.
food shelf.
Sorry. But here we wanted to at least cover some of the people that you had the pleasure
Yeah.
of talking with who helped you out. Do
Right.
you remember?
Right, yeah, I've written them down for you because a big part of my job hunt has been like the applications, obviously, but then I know firsthand from being an entrepreneur these past 3 years is that networking is going to get you farther
Oh yeah.
than like anything else. Is just going to talk to people. And yeah, so I'm going to share a little bit about
Fabulous.
who I've been talking to.
Seriously, because I mean, I've been looking for part-time filler work, and they all the programs say, okay, network. Yeah, resumes, sure, they're important, but getting to know people is
Right.
everything.
Well, and also like as I've been applying to these jobs, because of kind of the work that I've put in these past couple years networking, like it's really paying off.
Oh,
You know,
cool.
like I had an experience just yesterday where I applied to a job, and what I've liked to do is, after I apply to the job, I try to see if I know anyone or have any connections, or if I can reach out to like the hiring director on LinkedIn, just to kind of go a little bit further than just the application. And so anyway, it was this one company, and I looked up, my connections on LinkedIn, and I'd applied for a marketing position, and I was like, "Oh, I know the VP of marketing there.
Oh,
like I've met her,
wow.
I've talked to her, like we had a great conversation." And I was
That's
like,
cool.
"Oh my God, I'm so happy I went to that networking
Wow.
event," And keep having little moments like that where I'm like, wow, I maybe had a conversation with someone. I didn't know how it was going to pay off in that moment, but it is paying off now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So not just beforehand, but after the fact.
Years
That's
after the
cool.
fact. I mean, I think I
Wow.
met her like almost a year ago, and hopefully she remembers me. I remember her,
Do you want to mention the company or?
Yeah, I will. It's Omni Workspace. Yeah,
Okay.
the job listing they have looks really interesting to me. So if you're watching this,
Come on, people.
Yeah.
And then who are some of the others that you recently called?
Yeah. I'll tell you about the one I talked to this morning because it was uniquely interesting. I talked with a guy. His name was Brian Schoberg. He's the director of marketing at Zurich Dental, which is a small dental products manufacturer. I don't know if that's what you call.
Okay.
They're in Buffalo. But he is thinking about hiring a content marketer right now. And so he's in the very early stages. So it was really helpful and interesting and insightful talking to him because it helped me get into the mind of someone who is looking to hire someone like me.
And for those who don't know, what's a content marketer? What do they do?
A content marketer is, well, it has a really broad range of skills that you do. You're making content, so that might be videos, it might be, graphics to put on social media, it might be, text content, whatever, blog posts, all that stuff. So that's the content, but then you're also integrating it into the marketing strategy. So you're, aligning with other marketing initiatives that are going on in the company, any promotions or objectives that they have. And then you're also measuring like the success of the content that you're putting out in the campaigns and, doing research into your target demographic, all that stuff. And yeah, there's there's a bit of a range to like the positions I'm applying to, and the content marketer position is interesting to me because of kind of how broad it is and kind of how it does have its hand in a lot of different buckets.
And when I think of content, I think of videography, I think of writing, like copywriting, or what else is there?
Content can come in so many forms. I mean, even a podcast is content,
That's
a blog
true.
is
That's
content,
true. Okay.
video is content, and content isn't just digital. Those are just
Yeah.
listing digital content. Content could be white pages, it could be a book that your brand publishes and sells.
That's true.
It could be a poll that you put on your
very good point.
Your website. It's tons of things.
Yeah. If you had to pick of all those things, I mean, what comes most naturally to you? What could you get lost in because
Mm-hmm.
it's so exciting for you?
Well, my specialties and my experience these last couple years has obviously been with video and blog writing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm also really interested in exploring like new forms of content in this next phase of my career because every medium of content can do different things, making like um a resource quiz for,
Mm.
say your company, your brand is a hiring agency, and maybe a piece of content you'll make is a quiz to help people figure out what job they want to apply for.
Excellent.
That kind of thing I find, that's really dynamic,
It
right?
is
Because you're really engaging with
very
your audience.
true.
So I don't know. I guess that doesn't really answer your question,
Well,
but
no, I
I'm
mean
so
it's
excited to explore like different kinds of content.
so like quiz types, maybe, or not
Mm-hmm.
quizzes, questionnaires,
Mm-hmm.
things that involve using written word.
Write written word, and I love just trying new things. I mean, I one of my dreams is I'd love to develop a podcast for a brand, which is, I have podcasts currently right now.
You are the brand.
I am the brand.
I remember you saying you're not that interested in animal related services because you've seen the not so good side of animal care or retail, and that maybe other types of like medical products might be interesting.
Yeah, I think the conversation you're referring to, I was talking about how much I learned that I really like the service industry,
Yeah,
and I kind of like selling the service industry. I found it a little bit more natural to make a story out of um, my content when it was a service because you're
aha.
kind of talking about something that is already kind of like value centric and like
Mm.
story centric as opposed to like I bought a toy.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
but again, like I'm still so early off in my career, like my tastes and my preferences are still forming. And
What
you know,
what else, like beside Brian, who else did you talk with?
yeah,
What
I
other
can tell you
insights?
more. So another person I talked to recently, her name's Bethany Hilbrant. I went to high school with her actually.
Bethany? Okay.
Yeah, her name's Bethany. And she is currently a media planner at
Ooh,
Carmichael Lynch,
okay.
which is one of the biggest marketing
Mm-hmm.
firms in Minneapolis. And it was interesting talking to her for a few reasons. Um, she's obviously like closer to my age, and so that was eye-opening to me that like I want to be doing more talking with like my peers at this
Mm-hmm.
point than I thought I would. When I first started my job hunt, I was like, I need to talk to like the CEOs. I need to talk to like all the high ups that I can get to talk to me. Whereas now I'm like, okay, I still want to talk to those
Yeah,
people, but also it's so invaluable to be talking to people who are at my level or maybe just a couple years ahead of where I am, and seeing, how they've got the jobs that they have right now because I feel like they're so much more tapped into the things that I'm going to be going
sure.
through. So it
That
was
makes
really
sense.
helpful. And also it was cool to talk to her. So she's a media planner,
Okay.
and I didn't know what media was before
Okay.
I talked to her, really.
Well, tell others because maybe they don't know either.
Yeah, I'm still like figuring out all these like differentiations because there's so many like sub-disciplines in marketing, and I'm still like learning what all the different positions are and what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me when she got into media, when she got her internship at Carmichael Lynch, is where how she started, like they told her like, do you know what media is? Like, most people don't know what media is, and that's okay if you don't know what it is before you get this job.
What's the plural of medium?
Yeah.
uh, platform.
Right. Well, so from my understanding, and definitely don't take my word as Bible here, but media is like kind of connecting all of the dots of a
Mm.
marketing campaign. So for instance, if a company wanted to run a commercial,
Mm-hmm.
right? The media team would decide, based on, the information that they have on their target demographic, on their budget, on all of these different
Yeah.
factors. They would decide, okay, you want to run a commercial? Here's where we're going to run your
Uh-huh.
commercial. Here's when we're going to run your commercial. We're going to choose like this streaming service. We're going to do a 60-second commercial, and then they make all the arrangements for that to happen. So from my understanding, it's kind of like the logistics.
And it sounds even like, who is your audience? Where's your audience?
Yes, it does very much. And so that part about the media discipline definitely interests me because I want to know kind of how the whole marketing machine like works together, and
Yeah.
it kind of seems like they are that like glue,
Yeah.
you know.
I think, isn't there a platform called True or Be True or be something
I
that
mean,
it's for like 20 somethings, and it is almost like an Instagram, except for you are only able to post something that you're currently doing in a quick snapshot, and you only have a certain time of day.
oh, are you talking about Be Real?
Be real.
Yeah.
Be true. It's
Be
you.
true. Yeah, it's like the same concept.
Oh my god! My cousin's girlfriend was posting one. I was like, I just heard about that. And that, yeah, wouldn't it be great to have it all? I bet somewhere it's all laid out as to this platform is for this demographic, to just know all of them
Hmm.
and pick it.
Yes, I think being a successful marketer is very much like knowing what your channels are, knowing what their strengths and weaknesses are, knowing,
The requirements.
who you're gonna find using what, and yeah. So of all the routes I could go, I mentioned content marketing,
Yeah.
the media whole discipline is also something I'm definitely really interested in.
The
And
which
the
the
media,
media, figuring out what the media is.
well,
I
it'd be
know.
called like the media department.
Okay.
I think like
Okay.
the media department in an agency. And from my understanding too, if I went into media, I'd be looking at working with like a full-on creative agency. Whereas for
Yeah.
instance, like the dental company I talked to earlier today, that's a dental company. I'm
Yeah.
working within the marketing department
Okay.
within it. Um
It's
yeah.
even interesting to learn like what industries have what kind of exposure and where. Like, I think you were working in construction with somebody
Mm-hmm.
to find out maybe what the magazines are, what platforms are they on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Reddit has some construction element, or subsection.
Right, yeah, and I'm interested to I've used the word interested so many times
I'm
here,
intrigued
but
by.
I'm intrigued by, but yeah, there are like I think some less obvious channels out there,
Mm-hmm.
aside from Instagram and Facebook that companies maybe can have more success on because they're not competing with, a billion other um brands, competitors. Uh, but I don't know. That's something I got to learn.
I think though the one thing that you're doing so right is the networking part, because that is a platform, and people,
Yeah, it kind of is a
it
platform.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how many there are. You don't have to necessarily pay for it, for the networking, but the human touch,
Mhm.
because we deal with humans. We don't deal. We make our decisions by our relationships,
Right.
and you meet the people in person, hopefully somehow, or FaceTime. That's about as in person like as, versus
Yeah.
just reading about them. You gotta start
A
somewhere
Zoom
though.
call. Yeah. Yeah.
So there was the high school friend or the acquaintance. There was Brian, and who else
Right.
was
I
on your
can tell you
roster?
more.
Let's make sure. Yay, awesome.
Yeah.
Hello.
I can talk about this Laura E. King that I met with. She was kind of one of like the big shots that I got to talk with. She is an executive recruiter. She's founder of an organization called Marketers Community, which you may
Ooh.
have heard of, and she also runs a workshop on like kind of like personal development workshops that like help people connect with their purpose is how she describes it. But I was excited to talk to her because she is so successful. I kind of see, she's where I'd like to be. at some point in my future, you know, teaching people on a bigger scale,
Yeah.
starting specifically her marketers community. I wanted to talk to her a lot about that because one of my dream is to create a networking community of artists.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear kind of how she did that herself. And I wanted to ask her like what the early days of her organization looked like, because now marketers community is quite large.
Wow.
And successful.
What did she I guess what insights did you get from her?
I definitely learned that, like, what was I gonna say? Oh, she's just like a very purpose-driven person. I think that was the biggest thing that I came across from her, because she does so much. And I literally asked her at one point, I'm like, how do you do all of this? Like, when do you rest? Do you rest at all? Because I'm a very restful person. And, you know, as I like wade deeper into my career, I'm scared that I'm gonna lose that freedom to rest. And she really just made me kind of believe that if you act on your purpose, if you like wake up every day and you're truly like doing what you want to be doing, and like you come at your work from like a service mindset of like, I want to serve people, that brings you energy.
Very
and
much
that
so.
the energy will be there and that you can trust that. And so that was really helpful in kind of assuaging my fears that I might crash and burn.
I would agree
you
with
know?
that. I mean, there's a fine line of, I don't know if I'd say harmony or balance, yeah. But I mean, I had a concussion in November, and realized even 3 weeks later I want to get back into networking. It does give a lot of energy because that's one of my passions. So I totally get what she's saying with that. I mean, you almost forget that you're tired until going, okay, can't listen so well anymore. But yeah, so so the fact that your passion will fuel you. Any other insights from her?
Just like how affirming she was. I remember like after we met later that day, she actually sent me like an iPhone video of herself like in our LinkedIn chat.
Aww.
Just saying, she was like, you know, I just want to say I really enjoyed our conversation. Like, I've kind of been thinking about it all day. I walked away really like invigorated, and I just really like believe in you.
That's
And
cool.
like to have someone believe in you, and someone that, you know, you admire and you respect say that they believe in you, it really goes a long way. Because when you're applying for jobs, like,
it sucks.
it tests you. You know, you're in a vulnerable position.
Yeah,
you really are.
it's like dating.
It is like dating, but the person you're trying to court is like a Fortune 500 company, and you're like, I have value, you know?
Yeah, it's like instead of the walks in the sunset, it's here's my resume.
Instead of here's a rose, it's here's my resume. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, it just and then call you tomorrow. No.
waiting patiently for a response.
God, that's so cool though that she sent you kind of a reassuring note.
Yeah, it was really, she really went out of her way to do that.
That's awesome.
I mean, I was just amazed that she made time for me at all, you know? I mean, she's really busy woman. I mean, on top of all that I mentioned, she has four boys. She's raising 4 boys.
And she was, what was her name?
Laura.
Kudos to you, Laura.
Yeah. I asked her like how she balanced this, you know, kind of busy career that she has with her children, and she was just like, well, you take it one step at a time, you know? Like me and my husband, we had 1 kid and we figured that out.
Okay.
And then we had 2 kids and we figured that out.
Okay.
And you know, so I guess that was another takeaway, is you don't have to figure it all out at once. You know,
No.
you take one thing on at a time, figure it out. When you take a little bit more.
I thought you were going to say balance, and then she starts laughing, and then she's saying, no, what balance? No.
She could have been thinking that as well. It could be yes and.
That's right,
both
exactly.
Of those things.
Oh, you were learning a lot about improv. That's a key improv phrase is yes.
Oh, yeah, yes and.
She has been in stand-up comedy. You'll have to ask her about that later. Was there someone else that helped you on the phone or however?
Yeah, I'll just talk about one more
Okay.
who is actually a mutual acquaintance of ours, Jeff
Ooh,
Griffith.
cool.
So Jeff has been like, so Jeff is a creative director. He's had a career in branding. He's done some really cool stuff. Like he's, been on those video shoots with car companies where they have like the
Ooh,
car on like a trailer and they have like Matthew McConaughey coming in to like
huh.
sit in the car. And I learned that the actor in the car is never actually driving the car. They're just being pulled by a trailer.
Well, one thing that Jeff Griffith did say during the 1 Million Cups presentation he had, when he was talking about branding, is that everything you do is your brand. The way you pass out your business cards
Mm-hmm.
in a meeting is part of your brand. And I thought, exactly.
Yeah. He is really good about that. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah. And I learned from him. So he's been kind of a resource to me like throughout this whole process.
Yes.
I've talked to him a few times and it's ongoing. I've sent him like my one sheeter and my resume and stuff
That's
like that. And he's
cool.
helped look over that kind of thing. And when I first started, I gave him a call and I was like, can you just tell me like if you were hiring a young marketer, like what would you be looking for?
Mm.
And he was kind of able to impress upon me like enthusiasm. Like they're looking for enthusiasm, they're looking for excitement, they're looking for someone who is willing to do whatever it is. If a box of papers needs to be carried into the building, like you'll do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so yeah, that really informed kind of the way I've been presenting myself over the
Uh-huh.
past month, of just because I am a very enthusiastic person. I don't have to push very hard to showcase that, but making sure, when I put out a video, like, really letting my optimism shine through and my energy
Your
shine
energy.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I was doing, I don't know, maybe a second year into my channel that it's just like the video ads. I don't know how many pounds, thanks a lot. But the fact that it sucks the energy out somehow. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to have like twice as much, just
You
like on
really do.
stage. It's really
Yeah.
weird.
It is kind of like being on stage. Yeah, you do really have to like project
Way more.
more. And I talk with my hands more when I'm on camera too, I think.
But yeah,
Yeah, I
that's so
agree.
true that he says that energy. Yeah, you get to show that and enthusiasm. That it makes sense. I mean,
Mhm.
if they're buying Lauren, then what are they getting? Tons of energy,
Mhm.
insight, creativity. Oh my god!
That's the idea.
Woo! Is there if you had a magic wand and you could just pick a potential company, product, service, or whatever, let's say you would immediately get a yes, come in for an interview, or yes, we want you, where have you been?
Gosh, that's a good
Go crazy with
question.
the answer.
Go crazy with the
Or
answer.
even if not a specific name, then a type.
I would. Okay. Ooh, it'd be really fun. Okay, this would be really like fantastical. I would love to be the social media manager for Dunder Mifflin Paper Company.
Ooh, really?
That'd be
Okay.
so fun. Just like I want my workers to like want to be on camera. My coworkers like want to be on camera and be able to like take videos of them and like involve them in the content making process and
Yeah.
really like because when I was having the conversation with this guy this morning, he kind of asked me, like what topics interest you the most, what industries interest you the most, and I told him like it doesn't really matter the topic. It's more like the uncovering. I love systems. I love learning about
Ooh.
systems and I love learning about like, how a company works together. And so
Uh-huh.
I'd really love a company where I can really like learn how everybody's jobs are
Yeah.
interconnected and use that to make the content.
Ooh.
So and that type of content would really only work for like certain types of industries.
Part of their annual report.
Could be part of their. Ooh, that'd be a fun way to do your annual report. Yeah.
In fact, I can't remember, is it called social marketing? There is a specific type. I was looking through online classes with Hired, and one of them talked about this kind where you essentially give the camera to employees.
Mm-hmm.
So they are tasked with doing a video maybe daily on what their work is like,
Mm-hmm.
provided they like what they're doing. But seriously, that instead of doing a commercial about their company, they might say, hey, I'm working on this paperclip commercial, and oh, you should have seen the photo I found for this. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, I can't wait. So check below in about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Like getting into the details of day-to-day life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could totally see you doing that or interviewing them and maybe a certain genre of companies. Oh my God.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I can see it working. Well, I don't know. I can see it working well for any, or that approach to content making working well for a broad range of
Or
different industries.
she's writing a sci-fi book. Can you
Mhm.
imagine a company, a publishing company that focuses on sci-fi writing? Huh?
Oh, yeah. I have thought about like it'd be cool to go do marketing for a book publisher because then I could kind of get the added benefit of just understanding how that whole system works. Yeah.
That would be so cool.
It'd be a
Oh
real
my
two for
God.
one situation.
Woo! Wow. Oh my God. Now, if you are, since you're listening out there, comment below. If you work in marketing, what do you want other people to know about this industry that maybe people are getting wrong or they've never heard about? It's just something obviously that'll protect your own job, but just something that people will go, I didn't know that. Because if we don't hear from you, how is the industry going to improve and be even more exciting and retain people?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just a thought. But if you're looking for a marketer, Lauren
Give me a
Swee,
call.
woohoo! And we'll put her information in the details section. So please, the next and last call to action is here. Subscribe and share this with your fellow marketing buddies. Awesome. We appreciate you watching. Woohoo! See you later.
Woohoo.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you.